This is one of those bikes that, I apologise in advance, I'm going to talk about how good it sounds every 3 seconds. that noise, it sounds and feels like 2 great big single-cylinder engines glued together, which I know that's essentially what a twin is, but it doesn't sound like a twin. It sounds boomier, it sounds deeper. There's something about it that I get it now. This is my first time hearing, riding, seeing a 888 in the flesh, and I've got loads of friends who wax lyrical about them. I've always preferred the 916, but I kind of get what they're saying now. It sounds incredible, and the ride is way better than I expected. Welcome back to the Magic Factory. We're going to ride a beautiful Ducati 888 SP4. This is Dream Rides, and this is the bike specialist. James,
get ready.
Thanks for having
the Magic
us again.
Factory. I love that though. I do like that.
It is the Magic Factory. Yes. Awkward fist bumps and beautiful motorcycles.
Of course.
Let's jump straight into it. Don't kick me again because you've already had to go. This is a Ducati 888. It's not my thing.
It's beautiful. How can that be a thing?
I know, and I know I'm supposed to like them. I know I'm supposed to be obsessed with
these. To be fair though,
these.
Chris, either you're born with class or you're not.
I grant you that. But the thing is, I'm just the wrong age. So I came in, the first World Superbike races I watched was Carl Fogarty on a Ducati 916.
He actually won Carl Fogarty on his first ever championship on an SP4. Yeah.
And so it's been one of those bikes that it's like your first taste of beer, wine or whiskey.
Yes.
And you know you're supposed to like it, and you know it's going to make you a grown-up.
This has happened quite a few times to you actually, with the 998 as well.
I knew I loved that. I knew I loved the 998, and that was the thing for me. The 916, 996, 998 was the bike I've always lusted over. It's been.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Chris bike. So this was like the kind of old granddaddy of that I never really paid attention to.
The white frame really does it for me. And I think with this particular model as well, it's just like less is more. It's not got graphics all over it. It's just in Rosso Italian fire red. Yeah, and with a white frame, and it's just a for me, it's a beautiful looking motorcycle. Yeah. And only one of 500 ever made, by the way. So it's an SP, meaning sport production, 500 only ever made, and this is a very special bike.
I did my research like a good boy. Four World Superbike titles.
Right.
Out of this bike. 1990 with Raymond Roch. 2 more with Doug Polden.
Right.
And then Foggy winning its final title.
I'm impressed for your research, by the way.
It's an incredibly successful bike, and I don't think it is overshadowed so much by the 916 by people who are Ducati fans and know the bikes and have experienced all that.
Yes.
I think by horrible little oiks like me that came in later and are obsessed with 916s, this has always just been dismissed. You know what actually hooked my eye today? The thing that this morning just started me really thinking seriously about it. It's that thing behind you, because that's an actual ex-World Superbike.
This is Mario Lucanale's actual World Superbike, 1993.
And
this is the real deal behind.
The details on that just, and so then that's what these things are about. They're about a bit of spice, a bit of backstory, a bit of something special about them. And when you look at this and then you look at the bike that, the actual factory race bike, you start seeing the little details and it starts building a bit of that excitement. It's the square headlight. I think that's what it is. As soon as you get rid of the square headlight, I love it. But
don't forget, at that time it was like pop-up headlamps on Ferraris and things like that. It's very much of its time. That's
it's got 80s Ferrari.
Yeah, of course it has.
It really has.
Amazing specifications on this bike as well. So they only made 500. Olin suspension on the SP4, which was a big thing on them. This one's got all the factory original exhaust system as well, which is like you can't get them no more. No. Because what a lot of people did when they bought these, they put the full Termi exhaust system, performance exhaust, and the original cans got lost. But they're factory original cans, stamped Ducati as well. 118 brake horsepower out of a V-twin. So really punchy. Also 190 kilos in weight as well, and 160 miles an hour top speed. So, but you've got to remember, this is 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. The thing I love about it is it's the shed-built bike. This isn't a massive Japanese factory that have put loads of development and lots of men with clipboards scratching their chins, and this was blokes in a shed in Italy.
Completely right. It's like the bike behind us now. They'd have had it in, like you said, the shed. Magnesium engine in this. All the engine castings, all magnesium. Tricoline suspension. It's got a carbon airbox, pivoted fuel tank. Don't hold me to this, but I've been told it's about 150 kilos in weight.
It feels light.
Full trick Termi exhaust system as well. It's
special.
Well, I've got some good news for you. You know, we're going to be you're going to be racing this year.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking we should use this one for you.
We should definitely go. Yeah. That would be high stakes. Watch this space. But I think we don't need to talk anymore. The 888's reputation, when you do the research, when you actually look into it, it is a phenomenal bike. It's a dream bike, and it is, for me, I think the turning point for Ducati, where they started to dominate on the world stage. The second thing you need to know about it is, I'm told it's one of the best sounding motorbikes on earth. That is a bold claim.
They do sound absolutely phenomenal, even with the standard cans on.
Even with the standard cans. So let's get straight to it. Let's fire it up and get out there.
Yeah, definitely. This bike definitely deserves to be on Dream Rides.
Let's go. No mistake in that dry clutch rattle, and that exhaust note is gorgeous. It's a cold start at the moment, so I'm going to let it warm up before I rev it. But give it a few little blips to warm it up. I cannot wait to hear what this thing sounds like on full chat. That is a pretty special bike. It's a pretty rare bike. How do you insure that stuff? How do you insure memorabilia? Well, B-Moto, who are our insurance partner, who support Bike World, help us make these videos, that's kind of their bag. They're really, really clued up on motorcycles. So if you phoned up and said, I want to insure a Ducati 888 SP4, they'd go, oh, lovely. Is that the one with the Öhlins suspension? You know, the guys on the end of the phone know their stuff. And that means that you're having a conversation with someone who knows that you want to insure a rare, special Ducati, that you're not going to be out ragging around the lanes all the time. You get a rate appropriate to what you're insuring, and you get people that understand what the bike means to you. That, and the fact that they do multi-bike policies with a really good discount, means it's perfectly practical to have one of them, and 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 one of them. Wow. I like doing these rides when I get massively surprised. And this has been another big surprise for me. The 888 has always been, as I said before, a bike that kind of fallen off of my radar. And all the time, friends of mine have said, oh yeah, you've got to ride one of these though. They're a special one. There's something else about them. And yeah, I've kind of taken that with a pinch of salt, but I totally get it now. I totally get it. The way this thing rides, the way it feels rawer, it feels more edgy, it feels older. There's something more about it, something more that I didn't get when I rode the 998, which, yeah, that surprised me. This is one of those bikes that, I apologise in advance, I'm going to talk about how good it sounds every 3 seconds. That noise, it sounds and feels like two great big single-cylinder engines glued together, which I know that's essentially what a twin is, but it doesn't sound like a twin. It sounds boomier, it sounds deeper. There's something about it that I get it now. This is my first time hearing, riding, seeing a a 888 in the flesh, and I've got loads of friends who wax lyrical about them. I've always preferred the 916, but I kind of get what they're saying now. It sounds incredible, and the ride is way better than I expected. The noise, the roar when you open the throttles, and it wants to rev, it wants to sing right up. I was kind of, bearing in mind this is a beautiful classic motorcycle, I was trying not to thrash it, but it kind of makes itself be thrashed. It roars up to the red line, and it wants more. It always feels like it wants more revs, and that sound is so addictive, from the airbox roar, from the noise between your legs as you're riding it, to the sound of the exhaust note as it roars past on a road. I'm going to say, I might have to hold a competition, but I'm going to say I think this is my favourite sounding motorcycle, period. It just has an addictive roar. Better than a 916 or a 998, which I never thought I'd hear myself say. The way it makes the power, again, remember this is fuel injected, but we're old school here. We're not using electronic throttles and stuff. So when you've got the engine at a set of revs where it's not happy, it lets you know. So if you drop below sort of 3,000, 2.5 to 2,000, it's shunty, it's juddery, it's stuttery, it's not happy at all. But it clears its throat at 3 and then pulls so hard. So sort of 5, 6, 7,000 RPM. Gorgeous. You just come off a turn, crack it on. There's way more drive and power than I expected to be. It'd be lovely to get a go when it's not snowing, not freezing cold, to actually use that drive out the corner. But even just in a straight line, it was so nice and so predictable. You can feel that on track, this would be a lovely thing to actually push hard. This is a superb example. It's got 5,000 kilometers on it. So it's, I'm sure there are plenty of really ropey ones that don't feel anywhere near as nice as this. The chassis works well. This has got the Öhlins suspension. The forks have been recently rebuilt on this one, which the front end felt so fresh, so planted. So on really sketchy, greasy roads today, I kind of knew what everything was doing. I was able to brake real hard. I was able to turn and corner a little bit. The conditions were limited. Have I made enough excuses about that? Rode like a much more modern bike than I expected it to. It looks old, it looks dated now, but the riding experience is still very, 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 very good, and by no means awkward and lumpy and weird that some of these special bikes can be. Absolutely epic thing to ride. Slick gearbox, silly things like you pull the clutch in, click it in gear, and lots of modern bikes still go clunk. This just drops into gear perfectly. Dry clutch rattling away on the right hand side there. When you're trying to feed the clutch out, it's a little bit grabby. It's got that kind of race clutch feel to it, but once you go in, up and down the box is super smooth, and I just wanted to ride more and more and more. We did have to cut ourselves short today. It started snowing hard. The roads are gritty and salty, and this is too beautiful to be pushing our luck with in those conditions, but that has really whet my appetite. Ducati 888, if you're a 30-something-year-old like me that had completely dismissed these as irrelevant and old fluff, we were wrong. This thing is a properly special bike.